I am Dr. Jane Rackley. This is my 15-day cut flower experiment. As you can see, we're comparing the lifespan of cut flowers in different types of water. First of all, we have their tap water, as you see. 2 flowers then also placed in a glass filled with spring water. Then we have a high pH, ionized 9.5 pH bottled water that we have flowers in. And then we have a structured water that we're using to compare, and then also my Doc's water elixir water. And we are changing the water out 2 times each day, and we're going to check to see how long the cut flowers will last or live and be healthy in each of these types of water. And you can see there we use distilled water and 1 capful of my Doc's water elixir water to activate and energize and to make my special water called Doc's water elixir. So this is the very first day. Now we're going to move to the 3rd day into the experiment, and we're going to look at the tap water flowers. And as you can see, they look relatively still okay. The spring water flowers, you can see that the petals are starting to move out and expand a little bit. The high pH 9.5 ionized water, you can notice one of the flowers is the right flower is starting to droop a little bit already. The structured water flowers still look pretty good, and also the Doc's water elixir flowers look good as well. So this is day 3. Now then we go to the 5th day, and if we look at the tap water flowers, they still look relatively okay. The petals are moving out a little bit. The spring water, the petals are moving out more significantly. The high pH 9.5 water, you can notice that right flower is starting to droop even more. The structured water still looks really pretty good and vibrant, and so does the Doc's water elixir water. It looks pretty good and vibrant as well. So this was on day 5. Now I move to day 7, and we look at the tap water, and the petals are starting to droop a little bit. Spring water, petals are moving out, drooping somewhat. But however, when we look at the high pH water, you can see how that right flower has completely dropped. Several of the petals are bending back and getting darker. You can't see on the back side, but there's a couple of the petals that have bent back and are brown. Then when we look, so we're taking it out of this experiment. So then when we look at the structured water, it still looks pretty good. Doc's water elixir still looks pretty good as well. However, so the high pH came out on the 7th day. On the 8th day, we look at our tap water, and it's looking okay. Spring water, the petals have moved out even further. You can see the discoloration. There's a couple of them that have bent backwards on the back side and are dark. So the spring water is going out today on the 8th day. The structured water still looks pretty good. The Doc's water elixir flowers still look pretty good as well. That's at 8 days. So now at 9 days, when we look at the tap water, and we can see that the flowers are starting to discolor, and especially the one on the left, the midsection of this flower, they're darkening, the petals have darkened, and they're starting to dry up. So these flowers are now out of the experiment. We look at the structured water. These flowers still look pretty good. The petals are moving back a little bit, but they still look pretty good. The Doc's water elixir flowers still look really good as well. And this is on the 9th day. So the next day is day number 11. And the structured water, we see that the petals are starting to bend back and discolor a little bit. Doc's water elixir water, still the flowers are looking pretty good. So now we move to day 12 and 15 hours, and we notice that the structured water has lost several petals already, and we can see that the petals are moving backwards, kind of drying up a little bit. So, and then the flower on the right, the midsection of the flower is discolored significantly. So these flowers are being taken out and are considered no longer healthy at day 12 and 15 hours, and the Doc's Water Elixir flowers still look pretty healthy. Now we move to 14 days. The Doc's Water Elixir is the only one that's left out of the group. And petals are moving back a little bit, but still looks okay, still healthy. Day 15, we've lost a couple of petals there. They're getting a little bit discolored. However, they're still pretty springy. There's still actually pretty good life there, but we're still going to go ahead and take out the flowers and say that they're finished at day 15. So now what's really interesting is if we look at all of the other flowers, we go back and look at all of them after 15 days. This is the high pH flower. They're very, very dry, and if you notice back on the back side of the stems, there's no new growth trying to happen there at all. On the spring water flowers on day 15 here, you can see they're really dry. The flowers are very, very dry. However, if we look on the back side of the stem, I thought it was kind of cool that there's a bud there that's trying to grow. So there's a little bit of new growth trying to spring forward on the spring water flowers. On the tap water flowers, as you can see, they're very dry and crusty on day 15. And if we look on the back of the stems, there's not any new growth trying to come out, no new buds that are trying to grow, as we saw with the spring water. Now when we look at the structured water flowers on day 15, they're pretty dry, not very good life there. But when we look on the back of the stem, we can see even a little bit more growth, a bud that's trying to spring out. It's a bright green. So there's trying to be some more life there on the structured water. And when we look at the Doc's Water Elixir flowers on day 15, and when we look on the back, as I said, they're still pretty springy on the flowers even, still moist. And on the back you can see the buds and see this green growth. And there's new leaves springing off of the side of the stems, where I think it's really pretty cool, and I want you to see this, that it's trying to grow and bring new life on day 15, and it's springing off of the stems. So I just really wanted you guys to see that. I was surprised. I didn't expect to see that, and that was so cool. The results are the number of the days that the cut flower stayed healthy in the various types of water. In the high pH and ionized water, they stayed healthy for 7 days. In the spring water, the flower stayed healthy for 8 days. In the tap water for 9 days. In the structured water, 12.625 days. And in the Doc's Elixir water, the fresh cut flower stayed healthy for 15 days. So from a percentage standpoint, the Doc's Water Elixir water flowers stayed healthy 19% longer than they did in the structured water, 67% longer than they did in the tap water, 88% longer than they did in the spring water, and in the high pH water, a whopping 114% longer period of health. So this means overall that we have a 72% increased overall lifespan of cut flowers in the Doc's Water Elixir. So can you imagine all of the possibilities? What if this works the very same in the human body? The current life expectancy in the United States is 78.8 years. That's what we know. Could we improve our health and the length of our life simply by drinking the right kind of water? Is it possible for the average person to live a healthier life at least 72% longer? What would that look like? This would mean that the average person would live a life lasting an average of at least 135 and a half years. What do you think? I'm Dr. Jane Rackley. For more information, you may go to my website, docselixiroflife.com, to find out more about my special Doc's Water Elixir.